So we're living in a pretty confused world where being healthy and taking care of yourself is kind of crazy, and being sick and not taking care of yourself is accepted. So I'm going to take you through what's going on right now, 2025, because everything has moved up to different levels than we ever had. And, you know, I have also worked in this field for more than 50 years. And, you know, I met Ann Wigmore. So I directed a clinic outside Stockholm, and then Ann Wigmore from Lithuania came, but now she already had a clinic or an institute in Boston. But she came 1976, the first time, to lecture in Sweden. I was there, I listened, I came up to her after the lecture, and she said, I have one more day in Stockholm. I'll come and see your clinic. So little did I know, we connected. And then when I finally went over to the institute in Boston, I thought, I stay a month, I learn from her, I bring it back to Sweden. But then I met Brian, as you see. I never made it back. So, you know, it's been a long journey of learning and evolving the institute to what it is today. And you have to realize you have to live in the time that you're in. Yes, we can go back to 70 years and said it was very simple. We didn't have energy medicine. We didn't have any saunas. We didn't have any pools. We didn't have any extra professionals like acupuncture, chiropractic, massage. We didn't have anything. We just had Ann Wigmore and the diet. It was fine. But now you're living in a different time where you need to bring everybody in that can help, because everybody has so much to give and are so positive. You want to be around positive people, you know? And those are the people you should search to find too. If you want a good lifestyle, these are people that can help you, support you, and make you even healthier and happier for that matter. Whenever I need, I go to acupuncture, I go to chiropractic. We have a holistic dentist that we work with, you know, so we work with people that are in a holistic field because they have so much more that they can help us with. So let's go through. So we have choices. You know, we always have choices. We can either take care of ourselves, working out, take a nice walk, go to the gym, work out with weights, be on a plant-based diet. I know for a lot of you here, this is new. I talked to some of you. This is very new. And it's exciting, I think, that some of you are here and it's the first time that you really get into what is plant-based and toxic-free living. How can I make my house more toxic-free? You have air treatment back there, you have water treatments, you have clothes that, you know, it should never be synthetic. If it's nylon, polyester, what happens is that it will outgas forever. It doesn't matter how many times you wash those things. So it takes about 7,000 different chemicals to make polyester. what happens to the leftovers when you're done in the factory? It goes out in the rivers and the ocean. Fish is eating it. We are eventually getting it in our groundwater. So linen has the highest frequency for your skin. Organic cotton is a must, especially for underwear. And, you know, there's a lot of business that makes organic cotton, especially underwear, linen, and cotton. Cotton in itself is a big part of climate change because it is a lot of pollution. Organic cotton is a different thing. Or, so I can do all good. These juices looks amazing, like we got here. Then you have just survival, not thrival. Medical interventions, which I need sometime, but surgeries, organ transplant. So, which path is more extreme? Because we're always told that we're extreme. And it is extreme not to take care, because if I take care of myself and go plant-based, now I'm also going to take care of the planet. So everybody's talking about, wow, climate change, it's going nuts, it's going more than ever. It's very much because of cattle, chicken, eggs, and the fish industry. It's the funniest thing. Everybody thinks that it's the cars, the trucks, the airplane. It is the emission from cattle and animal feed industry. So we do organ transplants when it's gone so far that our kidney, our liver can't function. And you see, kidney is the number one. So kidney is a vascular organ. It's perfect for this diet. So when you have kidney problem, it's either because I had diabetes, I had kidney problems due to not drinking enough fluids, I am drinking all that coffee, I'm eating heavy acidic foods like meat, chicken, eggs, fish, dairy. So of course stress, you cannot exclude stress in any of these, but stress is a big part. But kidney is the biggest. Then we do liver. Well, let me go back to kidney. So one lady came, she had had kidney cancer, so they took one of her kidney. You have two, thank God. But they took one of her kidney. But then the cancer moved to the good kidney. So now she was in trouble. So she came to the institute and saved her kidney that had cancer. And she was just visiting last year, and I wrote an article about her, and she has not had any kidney cancer for years and years. So she saved that good kidney, but it already had cancer. Liver. So some of you have been at the institute. You met maybe Jimmy. Jimmy needed liver transplant about 15 years ago. After being at the institute, his doctor said the tumor is shrinking. Why would he have that? Hep C and liver cancer, alcohol misuse many, many years before. America is number one to have alcohol fatty liver. You know what happened? You think fatty liver is just fat. No, it's more alcohol, but it's also diet and lifestyle. And America is number one. You have Saudi Arabia, you have a lot of countries that have fatty liver. But when it comes to alcohol, we're the best. America takes the prize. So it ends up in liver transplant. Heart transplants. So this man came from the west coast of Florida. He was on a heart transplant list, Michael. And he came over while he was waiting for his heart. He has had so many heart attacks. His heart was kaput. It was done. So he lived on tons of medication. And he came over for 3 weeks. And when he came back, his cardiologist said, "You don't need a new heart. It already was healing." Can you imagine? So you would think Okay, if I'm now a victim, maybe in future, of heart attack or stroke, I could have changed that. Women, we have something sneaky. It's called small vessel disease. There is a test called angiogram that you do for cardiac problems, heart problems. And for men, it shows up. If you have a problem, it will show up. Women, you could get a clean bill of health and have a heart attack tomorrow. And you're like, how did that happen? Because we have those tiny holes, tears, in our vessels. And then I don't get enough oxygen. And if I don't get enough oxygen to my brain, if I don't get enough oxygen to my heart, So, and when we have heart attack and stroke, we don't do as well as men. We very much end up in long-term, like hospice or long-term hospital care. So we really need to take care. So how do I heal something that have tiny tears? I heal it with a lifestyle like this. Now, I know that Romania is confused right now about sprouts and wheatgrass and all of that. So I can just tell you that my whole family has lived on this. Now the youngest one is 26, the other ones are 40. Institute is 70 years old, and this is what we've been doing. So what some doctors think that they can figure out without having any experience, it's sad that they even talk about it, because we definitely have all the experience. And if I look at those sprouts, they're pure medicine. If you want medicine that's totally natural and has life force in it, you're looking at sprouts. You're looking at the deal. Lungs, there's less of them. Pancreas, small bowel. But small bowel is going to go up because number one of all the cancers going up, of course we have breast cancer, lung, but anal, rectal, and colon cancer, I'm sure you have the same as we in America, but all science is very worried because it's not older. It's younger than 50. And when you have this kind of cancer, they will chop a piece and chop a piece, until there's nothing left. And so then you end up with a bag, colostomy or ileostomy. This is crazy. People are coming now to the Institute, many more, and very young, 20, 30, 40. And they have just been diagnosed with colon cancer. We had a 74-year-old that became a bodybuilder. Amazing story. His name is Thomas. He was 74. He did have colon cancer. He did do the colon resection. They took the part of the cancer. But when they sent, after they wanted to do chemo and radiation, he said no. And like most people would say no nowadays because we would know better. Chemo radiation lowers your own immune system. Realize that your immune system knows exactly what to do for you, but you have to support it. And that's where all the food and everything that you did here today will help. So he came to the Institute. He never needed anything more. And then he came back 3 years later and stayed 9 weeks. And he said, now I want to be a bodybuilder. And he lived 100% on our diet. He had a trainer that took him through the program. And he said, oh, you have plenty of protein, plenty of calories, plenty of everything. He ate nothing cooked, 100% raw. And he was 74, and he won the 50 group because there were nobody his age. So beautiful. 71% increase in surgical volume globally since 2016. Organ transplant have increased 11.3% in just 1 year. That was 2024. So this is not a shortcut. You know, when we do these transplants, we'll be on medication for the rest of our life. So look at this. United States performed a fifth of all kidney transplants. Yeah, because we eat worse than anybody. You cannot come up to as bad as we. But if you want to eat like Americans, then you probably end up with a kidney transplant. Globally, there were 102,000 kidney transplants and worldwide, reflecting a 9.1% increase compared to 2021. So unfortunately, America is exporting our bad habits, and people are thinking that it works there, it should work here. So we're eating more meat than we ever did. Even if you look at how people ate meat in the old days, let's say go back 50, 60 years, maybe you had meat once or twice a week. Now you can eat meat 2-3 times a day. So you are going to have problem. And most people understand that we were never supposed to eat meat like that. That is really full of bacteria, E. coli. It has parasites, virus that we have to fight every day. So liver transplants, 2023, U.S. achieved a milestone with 10,660, surpassing the 10,000 that for the first time. So we did 660 more. Globally, demand for liver transplant continues to exceed supply, with only about 10% of patients in need receiving a transplant. So are we going to just sit and wait? So the people that I just told you about, they didn't sit and wait. They would come to the institute and they would heal that organ, so they never needed it. That's what I wish. Even if I needed it, I would try something natural. And you need minimum 3 months, not to be at the institute or not, but you need 3 months of giving your body a chance. So you need 3 months of juices, 100% raw. You stay out of fruit when this is happening. There's no fruit. There's no form of sugar at all. And then you test it again. And maybe that organ is fine, or it's on its way to be fine. So always give it 3 months. Always. Heart transplant, like Michael who did that. Well, America, we have 4,545 heart transplant, setting a new annual record. But that's not that many heart. Somebody has to die for you to get somebody's heart, right? In 2022, approximately 8,988 heart transplants were conducted worldwide, representing a 7% increase from 2021. So organs are limited. 2022, there were 38,156 deceased organ donors worldwide. Waiting list more than 106,000 people for transplant. So now they're just waiting. They're just waiting and getting worse and worse and maybe dying by the time because that clock is ticking. Instead of being told, you should do something different now. You should do lifestyle. You should go plant-based and learn from people that are already in this field and take a step in the right direction. Whatever you can do, take a few steps. Eat less meat. Eat less. The first thing you have to stop eating, if you're not a plant-based eater, is chicken. All poultry, chicken and turkey. It's funny because we just got a dog. We got a puppy. And a puppy comes with a whole list of things that you got to do to take care of a puppy the right way. Puppy cannot have chicken and poultry. Puppy cannot have grains like wheat and the bread and all of that. And a puppy has to walk 2 American miles a day. Human beings, we don't come with that list. We should come with a much bigger list. But so we know much more. Veterinarian doctors are much better at lifestyle than human doctors. Isn't that funny? So this puppy is so healthy because he's getting all the right stuff. Surgeries, health alarm, lifelong immunosuppressive. You actually have to take medication and to suppress your immune system, because your immune system, remember when the first heart transplant, is anybody old enough when that Dr. Barnard from South Africa did the first heart transplant? Well, anyway, he was God. That was in 1964, I think. He was God, because nobody had ever taken a dead person's heart and put it into a person that needed it. But he only lived 3 weeks because his immune system was like, no way. You know, it didn't have the electric, and it didn't have the bacterium and everything that the body was used to. So now you had to suppress. And that increased the risk of infections and cancers, of course, because, you know, you have this immune system that is taking care of you. And many different, some of them take care of fungus and mold and parasites, allergies, some goes after cancer, some goes after inflammation. They know exactly what to do. So then we chop organs out too. And you're told many times, oh, you don't need them. We don't need your tonsils. Yes, we do. I kept mine because I'm from Sweden. And America, Brian doesn't have tonsils because they were all taken out. His age, they were all taken out. Does any of you here have tonsil? Do you have tonsils? And a lot of you lost your tonsils? Yeah. Because it's mainly when you're young. They get infected, they get inflamed, so we take them out. No, this just needed rest. No dairy, no gluten, you know. And it needed rest to get the inflammation down. It is your first immune, because you have white blood cell, it's a lymph gland. So you have lymph nodes on the side, and that filters. So now what comes in through my nose and my mouth goes in here and gets killed by the white blood cell. Now I don't have it. If I don't have it, now it's going to go down to my lungs. So this we don't want to get rid of. Then I have gallbladder. So gallbladder sits, it's an avocado pockets. It's the green parts. You have the liver, the red part there. And you know when there's a fatty liver, the liver is white. So the doctor will see a white liver. He knows it's a fatty liver. The gallbladder stores bile. Bile is made by the liver, so I can digest the fat, the cholesterol that I just ate. And it goes through, this is a bile duct, it goes into the small intestine. And it's very important. I don't want to get rid of that. If I have gallstones, unless I have a need for surgery, let's say a gallstone went in here, that's terrible. I don't want a gallstone to go in there, in the duct. So now I have to have a surgery. But what if you were just told that, well, you have gallstones, maybe in a few months we should take it. Then I'd rather do something different. And there's a cleanse. It just takes a week, and you save that gallbladder. I've taken tens of thousands. I did the program in Sweden for people. I do it in America. Appendix. Appendix is not bigger than this finger. Not bigger than this finger. And it sits up in the top of the large intestine. And it is a lymph gland. So it has white blood cell, but it also stores microbes. So now let's say that I had diarrhea. I just flushed, it was terrible. Now it supports me with microbes so that I can rebuild, right? Or I had to take antibiotics, which is very tough on microbes, in your large intestine. So that's where appendix sits. You have 100 trillion microbes. 80% of my whole immune system comes from these microbes. 90% of serotonin. Serotonin is the happy hormone, so I can function today, and then serotonin makes melatonin, so I can sleep tonight. So it all comes down to my large intestine, and it's only 6 foot long. It's not long. So I want to keep that appendix. So what do I do with appendix? Let's say it didn't burst, because if it burst, it's because it was so full of food that it exploded. Now I have to have surgery. It's very, very dangerous. What if it's appendicitis? So I have an inflammation of the appendix and I feel it, but it's not an emergency. I could rest. I could go and have colonic. I could do my own enema. But when we do enema, which is just the water, then we follow it with wheatgrass juice. So we take wheatgrass juice in a little bulb and we take it rectally, because I need to get in there. And then I fast. I drink a lot of fluid, and then it's fine. It's fine. So I want to keep my appendix. So you see the possibility of keeping the organs instead of chopping them out just because they're inflamed. And they cost a lot. And of course, America, everything costs very, very much, but they cost everywhere. If I have socialized medicine, it costs the government, and it costs the taxpayers. So now we're doing joint replacement. We do knee, and we do hip, and they're going like this. We're doing so many more knee and hip replacement, and they cost a lot, over 800,000 of knee replacement, hip replacement, 450,000 annually, and that's in US, so that's not globally. So what do I do if my hip is starting to be joint on joint, bone on bone? So can I make new cartilage? Yes. So now you have to work with people like chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists to help that. But now I also have to do certain exercises to help that. Or it might even be my shoulders. It might be my shoulders. So instead of having to do, so let's say now we're just in the beginning, then you can heal. If it's gone too far and I can't even walk anymore, of course you do the surgery. But I would do everything in your mind, in your power to not have to do the surgery. Because, a surgery, you're never the same. It's never completely the same. And I think most of us think, I do a surgery, I'll be fine. I'll be going back to normal. But it's not. It's not. 830 million people worldwide are living with diabetes. Half are younger than 70. This number has quadrupled since 1990. Quadruple. So what are we eating? Guess what is most doing this? It's all that animal food. All the chicken, all the meat, all the eggs, all the dairy, all the fish. That's what did it. So you would think, well, it's sugar. Yes, because we're all sugar addicts. That is a part of it. You will never heal diabetes as long as you eat animal foods in any form. It's just not going to heal. Brian's mother had diabetes type 2, and Brian's dad became plant-based after a heart attack, but after a surgery. So his heart was not good. But then, guess what his surgeon told him? He said, Mr. Clement, that was Brian's father, he said, no more dairy. And that was his favorite, the ice cream, the cheese, the butter. So then he said, I might as well eat like Brian. So then he came and did the program, and he became plant-based. And he just passed. He was 94. So this was 35 years ago he had bypass surgery, and he lived to 94. It was amazing. My dad never had a surgery. My dad lived this way. He's in Stockholm outside, and he is 97. He is in great shape. He walks every day. He makes his own food. He grows, he's living this way. So he's a great example. But Brian's dad made it to 94 because he changed. And Brian's mom had diabetes type 2. So she could not stop eating meat. She could not stop eating sugar. And the funny thing is that everybody is told that you can have diet sugar, diet soda. You know that they're worse than the real deal? So now they realize that the chemicals in diet soda is forever chemical. They call it PFAS. You know about this? You probably heard about this. These are forever. They will last 100,000 years once they're going out in nature. And so they never go out of our body. But there is a cleanse, because now we're all freaking out because we are inhaling plastic. Nanoplastic is everywhere globally now. And the ocean is full of it. So fish is full of it. And so we just got a new product. It's a zeolite, and it's called Masterpiece. It is a totally different level. I don't have any here, but you can order through the Institute, that actually go after forever chemicals and plastics and pesticides. This is something right now we've been taking, I think, for 6 months now. What a difference that this have made for us. So it's beyond normal what we have in 2025, because we are inhaling plastic all the time now. So what is nanoplastic? We've had so much of single-use plastic that, how it never goes away? If you've had it in the wardrobe or something, it just becomes these little tiny pieces, and that's exactly what it does in nature. There is, in the Pacific Ocean, there is an island of plastic as big as Texas, which is a big state in America. So diabetes, look at this. Lifestyle versus medication. Diabetes prevention program, intensive lifestyle change, reduced type 2 diabetes. And this was New England Journal of Medicine, which is very conservative. It would be higher for us than 58%. But anyway, while metformin, which is #1 diabetes medication for diabetes type 2, reduced it by 31%. So lifestyle changes were nearly twice as effective. Absolutely. So people on our lifestyle will be able to get off insulin pretty fast, diabetes type 2, and metformin pretty fast, because we don't need it. And it's the same with blood pressure medication too, and cholesterol medication. So here, most people have, with diabetes, they have cholesterol, high blood pressure, and they have the metformin or even insulin. So 100% of type 2 diabetes who follow Hippocrates program recover. And you would say, how dare they say that? Well, we can't, because we know that. We know that this is true. So then if I have diabetes type 1, I will be able to lower my insulin very much. We had a young man that came in, he had the 30 units in the morning, 30 units in the evening. He moved them all down to 7 a day in 4 weeks at the Institute. And so imagine the insulin, the side effects of the insulin is that I can go blind, I can lose my toes, my legs, right? A lot of side effects. So if I can get that down, which you will, because realize why you needed all that insulin was not just sugar. It was the meat, the fish, the eggs, the poultry. dairy, right? So we got to get out of our head that we can be on diet soda if we have diabetes. That is the worst. It's terrible. So reframing extreme. So here is our medical director. This is Maria Clement here at Hippocrates Wellness, and I'm here with our medical director, Dr. Josh Hellman.
Hi there.
Yeah, and so we want to talk about the extreme things that are done and how much prevention we could do. So give us some hint of what things that you've seen. I mean, you've been in practice how long?
Decades. I finished med school in 1993, so it's been 30 plus years.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of organs that get removed, and I'm not saying no one should ever have any operation.
Right.
I'm just saying that we should do more conservative things first. So, for example, if you're trying to lose weight, the first thing you should do is not get a gastric bypass or a stomach stapling procedure, because unfortunately most of the time those are not reversible. Mm-hmm. You should change the types of foods that you're putting in your mouth and start exercising, for example. Mm-hmm. Or another one is getting your gallbladder out. If you find that you're eating fatty foods and you're getting pain in your right upper quadrant where your gallbladder is, mm-hmm. the answer, in my opinion, is not to remove your gallbladder, because guess what? We actually need our gallbladder. The gallbladder does something. It concentrates the bile, and if you remove it, unfortunately, you're missing that function. But I've discussed this with patients in the emergency rooms and said, look, you've got inflamed gallbladder. I recommend that you switch to a low-fat, plants, and cut out all the animal products, the high-fat products. And some people listen and say, you know what, Dr. Josh, I'm gonna change what I'm doing. But a lot of people say, wait, you mean I have to give up all my fast food and fried food? No, I want that operation. And all you can do is describe the positives and the negatives. Right. But I think, unfortunately, in our society, it's too much, I want the quick procedure, and I don't want to change my lifestyle, what I'm putting in my mouth that's actually contributing to chronic diseases.
Mm. Appendix is going out a lot. Tonsils are going out. How important are they?
Yeah, so the tonsils, and they'll do like either a tonsillectomy or a TNA, a tonsillectomy, an adenoidectomy. And these are part of our immune system, and they're there for a reason. So often, instead of just yanking these out, and it's a pretty brutal operation, you basically burn them out. Instead of doing that, why not remove the things that are causing the inflammation? For example, cow's milk, unfortunately, can cause too much reaction from your immune system. I find often if people cut out cow's milk and dairy and cheese, mm-hmm. that the inflammation of their tonsils and adenoids goes away. The same thing with if you get people to eat a lot more plants, often and lower their fat intake, often their gut works better and their appendix no longer gets inflamed.
So now with Dr. Josh helps, he specializes in Parkinson and Alzheimer and has amazing reversal. So people come to the Institute now for his program, in our program. And so he's very excited about working with dementia and Alzheimer. We just had a few people there, and we do a lot of is the hyperbaric chambers and certain IVs that works. And there, we have doTERRA. doTERRA is a company that makes aromatherapy oils, very, very good quality. And the latest research about the Alzheimer is that we need to smell more. So a good idea would be to follow that and maybe just put a few dots under each nostril and have that, maybe have a diffuser at night before you fall asleep, so that I know how it helped a mother with 2 sons with autism. She did our diet, but she also did doTERRA, and she had diffuser in the boys' bedroom. She swears, she did Verdiver, vetiver and frankincense and a few other that she would alternate. These boys are totally healed. They're totally fine. So why not with Alzheimer? So I think in the old days, yes, because we lived in nature, we didn't live in cities. We had many smells from flowers and trees and grasses. It was naturally. We need to go back. So at least I can do that and have better smell. So smoking, amphetamine, metformin, bariatric surgery. Your stomach is not bigger than this fist. So imagine when you do a surgery, and I do have hardly anything left. And then I have to learn to eat different. Now I have to eat much less, more often, because before at least I had this piece. Now I have hardly anything left. So it's very tough. So why don't I do a lifestyle? Because when I did that surgery, now I have to eat well. I could have done the good stuff with eating well. So another hit on the hit parade of weight loss magic drugs. Yeah, this, the GLP -1. Did it hit here like it hit America, this weight loss? No? Okay, let's not go on that. So what it does, it was drugs from Denmark that came out, made tons of money, and they were made for diabetes. But then they found that people lost weight doing it. So it became a weight loss. I mean, it's huge in America. So it's an injection. It costs tons of money. And once you start, and if you stop, you gain all the weight back. So what it does, it tells your stomach, I'm full, I'm fine. So people are more or less starving. I see them, and they lose weight, but it's crazy to lose weight, because I can lose weight on this diet, eating nourishing, and exercise and lose weight. But now people wanted shortcuts, so they're taking this medication. It's really bad. Yeah, I hope nobody here, it has many names, but GLP -1. So you know what is nature's GLP -1? Fiber. Fiber from raw food. So when you go and you look at the sprouts back there, that is nature's GLP. Fiber, but it has to be raw. So raw lettuce, raw cucumber, raw peppers, avocado, all the sprouts, spinach, kale, you name it, all of that. That's nature's GLP -1. So you don't need to spend money on injection that tells your body to stop function. I don't need anything, my stomach, it's crazy stuff. So it's extremely helpful to live well, right? It's extreme to undergo invasive surgeries and lifelong medical treatment, unless we had to, unless we really needed to. So every positive choice is prevention. Everything you do now prevents disease you never knew you get. Did you get that one? Everything you do now prevents diseases you never knew you get. That's a good one. Unseen benefit of affirmative movement. Example, early morning workouts, emphasize enhanced lymphatic circulation, aiding toxin removal, reducing the risk of neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer, dementia, Parkinson. Regular physical activity is associated with a 35% reduced risk of cognitive decline. Who gets problems is women. Men do too, but 70% of people that do get Alzheimer is women. So why is that? Why? And no, science is trying to figuring out, well, we eat different. We snack more. We usually eat more sugar, because when you snack, you eat sugar. We don't eat real meals. We don't sleep as much as men. We don't take care of ourselves as much as we take care of our family. So it adds up. It adds up. So in your brain, you have something called hippocampus. Hippocampus in the learning and memory center in the brain. It makes insulin. So insulin is needed when you have, from your blood-brain barrier that goes from my gut up to the brainstem, I need glucose and oxygen. You know that everything else nowadays are coming up, even plastic is coming up through the blood-brain barrier. Fungus, mold is coming up through the blood-brain barrier. Heavy metals, PFAS, the forever chemicals, when they do abductions, they find this in people's brains. So how do we clean that up? Same thing, everything that you do. And, you know, this new product, the Masterpiece, has been of great help, but it is everything combined. Then we have this Neurosize, and Brian talked about Neurosize, and you might wonder, what is this? So Andreas is Swedish and a friend of our son, and he created this. He was a bodybuilder. He had clean institutes all over the world, and he got tired of, you know, really weightlifting and the normal stuff. So he created a different program, which is amazing for the brain and the body.
Andreas, what is Neurosize?
Neurosize is a fun way to use your brain in a way to connect left and right hemisphere. So we do different exercises with the body to sharpen the cognition. We do balance, coordination, and something we call flow, using the brain to strengthen the body, the mind, and the soul. So that's pretty much a framework of what we do.
And this is a part of Hippocrates fitness program.
It is.
And
so we do it here on campus.
Yes.
And also online.
And this has been enormous help for our guests, and especially people with Alzheimer and Parkinson. Tell us about it.
Yes, we have had a few guests that really needed some help with movements. And we just found out that when we start to do coordination movements, like working with hands, different things that we go thinking from side to side, we activate both parts of the brain. But when we also start to move our body, we start to get flow, energy flow through the spine up to the brain, or the other way around, that heal the body. So we want movement, and if you stop using it, we lose it. So same with cognition. So we need to practice it. So this is a great way to challenge yourself in a safe environment.
And the guests have fun too, because you use tools for them. And so tell us about that.
Yeah, so the tools, we develop them for have a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more complexity to the exercises. With tools, we can actually find a level to scale it, so adjust it for each person. So we have something like a ball, like tennis ball in a string, that we move around, and the person starts to shift the balance and start to focus using the eye, and which we know the eye is very important to cognitive health and the brain, because we have muscles directly connected to the brain. So that's one tool. We also have sticks that we drop, so the people have to react. And we do also ipsilateral, which is same side movements, and contralateral when we cross movements. So this is always to enhance movement and also play.
Thank you.
It's much tougher than it looks, because when he's standing there with a ball and you have to follow it, or he has a stick and he drops it and you need to pick it up. But it was so good, because these people that he had time to work with improved 40% in 2 weeks. I mean, it improved their mobility, they're clear. I mean, it was amazing to see. So this is a part of every morning we have, he's not there, we have Kona who's trained, and Kona does it. And it's fantastic. You can find it online too, under Hippocrates Wellness. So nutrient-dense food more than meets the eye. Wheatgrass, which you have back there, is rich in chlorophyll, vitamin A, C, E, the iron, magnesium, and wheatgrass activates the immune system against pathogens, virus, bacteria. Wheatgrass exhibited antioxidant properties that protect against oxidative stress and boost immunity. And that's just one thing. There's so many, all the sprouts are working. The 5-year study concluded that consuming extra virgin olive oil, this is Navarra University of Spain, reduced the person's risk of heart attack or stroke by 30%. So how much olive oil are we talking? No, we're just talking sparingly, but a little bit goes a long way. So of course you want extra virgin olive oil. You want, whenever we travel, we usually come home with olive oil, especially from Israel or France or Italy or Greece, of course. Other people come home with wine in their bag. We come home with olive oil because it's so rich, so different. So plant-based diets and heart health. Adhering to a plant-based diet is associated with a 32% lower risk of cardiovascular disease mechanism, lower intake of saturated fat and cholesterol with higher intake of fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. So you have essential fatty acids that are super important, and you don't make them. You need to eat them every day. Today you had maybe some nuts, you have some avocado, you have seaweed. Naturally, the sprouts have essential fatty acid. Saturated fat comes in the meat, in the chicken, and the eggs, all of that. Then you have a worse fat called trans fats. That is the French fries and the donuts, everything that's fried. So, if you start with a good fat and you make it, you put hydrogen into it, it's going to sit there for years to come. It's not a good idea. Benefits of a raw, vegan, organic, plant-based diet: nutrient density, high in vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytonutrients, low in saturated fats, and devoid of cholesterol. Disease prevention, reduced risk of heart disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. Digestive health promotes healthy gut, microbiota, and regular bowel movements. So since COVID, this has been a little bit messed up because a lot of people did take the injections. And what we've seen is hypertension is much more serious than it was before the COVID. And so we're working with that, trying to figure out what else we can do, because hyperbaric would be the first thing I put you in. Do you have hyperbaric here? Yeah, so hyperbaric, if I have this, so let's say now that I didn't have high blood pressure before COVID, or before having COVID, or before having the injections, then you need to go and have the hyperbaric. And you need a lot of essential fatty acids, which one of the best form is from blue-green algae, EFAs. From blue-green algae, and also taking care with cayenne. You know cayenne, the hot pepper? Really good because it opens capillaries. Phytonutrients is what's in the plants. For millions of years, plants were protecting themselves from diseases, from pests, and from going extinct. And guess what? These are nature's medicine. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and protect DNA from damage, slowing aging process. Anti-inflammatory compounds, and these are flavonoids, carotenoids, reduce chronic inflammation, lowering disease. If I cook, the flavonoids, carotenoids will not work. They're killed. They're done. The man that did the research for Johns Hopkins University about broccoli sprouts, because Johns Hopkins University realized there was something very special in the broccoli sprouts. They had something called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is anti-cancer all the way. So they had Dr. Garrard do the research. Well, his wife, we were in Warsaw, and we were lecturing, and it was just as many people as here. And after the lecture, this lady came up and she said, "It's my husband who did that research." So I got to do an interview, and he said, if you cook it, it's gone. Because phytonutrients don't survive heat, right? You can have something called a dehydrator. A dehydrator, you keep the temperature less, like 46 Celsius. Then it's still alive. So diets rich in vegetables and ripe fruit reduce mortality risk by 30%. So how much fruit do we eat? Yeah. Well, Brian and I don't eat fruit at all anymore, but we serve fruit Thursdays and Sundays at the Institute, and that should be enough, unless you have kids. Kids can have fruit every day, but it needs to be ripe. It needs to be organic. Unfortunately, most fruit is picked unripe, so they're acidic. You know, if I pick apples from a tree, it's totally different than the apples they picked and they were unripe, right? So I wanted to show what happens to food as it's being packaged and sent many days. This is just lettuce, and it was full of vitamin C and vitamin A and antioxidants. And now, by the time, let me say it took 8 days, it's all gone. So the more that I can get fresh from the farmer's market, people you know that is growing things and you buy it there. Oxidative stress is the cause of all disease. This is when you have stress in your system, and there is, you have something called free radicals. Free radicals that will look for something to hook onto. That's why they're called free radicals. And it might actually lead to a problem, to a disease. What do I need to counteract is the most important. Antioxidants. Antioxidants I get from all the live food, right? Especially sprouts, especially wheatgrass, sunflower pea sprouts, they're loaded with it. So reversing disease through plant-based nutrition, cardiovascular disease, plant showed reversal of coronary arteries disease with a low-fat plant-based diet. Participants experienced regression of arteriosclerosis. Type 2 diabetes, plant-based diets improve insulin sensitivity. Participant reduced or eliminated the need for medication. Organic foods, maximizing health benefits, reduce pesticide exposure, eliminate intake of harmful chemicals linked to health issues, higher nutrient content. Some organic produce have higher levels of antioxidants. So if we can get that, it's better. Environmental impact, of course, is the biggest thing. Support sustainable farming practices, preserving soil and water quality. So organic produce maximizes health and has up to 60% higher levels of antioxidants. That was British Journal of Nutrition, 2014. Not so obvious extreme. Okay, how much plastic will you have for dinner? 90% of animal and vegetable protein samples tested positive for microplastic, nanoplastic. So even vegetables and fruits had it. A March 2024 study in the New England Journal of Medicine found microplastic in carotid artery plaques, associating their presence with a 4.5-fold increased risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes over 34 months. So science is looking at this. Science is freaking out. But I think most of us is like, it goes over our head. It's like, how are we going to deal with everything? We deal with our family, our kids' problem. Now we got to deal with the whole world. It's like, can somebody just stop the using and making of these plastics? You know, I know a lot of the stores in America now, you have to bring your own bags, which is great because you've already done that in Europe for a long time. I know if you shop in Paris and you don't bring a bag, you better have long arms because there is no bags in the store. The long-lasting side effects of antibiotics. So this was a study that came out of 8 years looking. And they found that if I took antibiotic within that 8th year, after 8 years, compared to the ones who never took antibiotic, I would have about 56 species different than the ones who never took it. So you have hundreds and hundreds of different species. That's the microbiome, that's the 100 trillion microbiome. So it doesn't sound lots, but there is the species, different kinds that do different stuff for you. That is a big part of your immune system. You were lacking 56 of them already. So they say nearly 20% of pre-treatment bacterial population was still absent after 3 months, with damage evident for 8 years, even 8 years later. So there are times we need to take antibiotic, but what should I have done then? I should have really stepped up my diet. This diet that we do is called prebiotic. Prebiotic is feeding my microbes, and then probiotic I should take, especially so that I don't have this mix. Because, of course, a research will not tell you solutions. It will just tell you what you do. So there is food additives. You've probably seen it, but, you know, MSG, trans fats, artificial sweeteners, aspartame. Aspartame is now considered a carcinogen, sucralose too. Harmful food additives are linked to hormonal disruption, hyperactivity in children, gut microbiome imbalance, and increased risk of metabolic and cardiovascular disease. So here's Dr. Spicer. Also, we work with him.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roy Spicer, and I'm here at Hippocrates Health Institute with Maria Clement, and today I wanted to focus on healthy indoor environments. I've been dealing with water quality issues for 40 years, but there's also an additional problem with indoor air quality. Indoor air quality directly affects your health. Ultrafine particles from the outside, that could be mold, it could be small fragments of dust, it could be pollen, or it could be outgassing from your furniture or any products that you buy, cleaning agents, soaps, detergents, even dry cleaning. These are all chemicals and particles that get into your body. They pass the blood-brain barrier and they affect your health in many different ways, including your brain function. So there's a lot of new studies out there, especially if you live in cities or near heavily trafficked area, the particle counts go up. Children are affected, their mental health is affected, schools are learning about this. But it's really important to control what goes on inside your house by cleaning up your cleaning agents. There's non-toxic cleaning agents. You don't want to buy any furniture that are made from countries that use chemicals, like China, because that outgasses. I've been in homes where the outgas for 2 years, and they're very toxic. The other issues are mold. I'm dealing with a mold problem right now in my own home from a water leak, and down here in Florida, you know, we have a lot of rain, so mold is extremely toxic. It could be deadly. So you have to be aware of all these different factors that affect your health, but you want to maintain a healthy indoor environment by having clean air and clean water?
Yeah, indoor could be more toxic than outside because we have all the machines, we have all the EMF from the computers and everything. And you know what you need to have? A lot of plants, because plants eats toxins, heavy metals, chemicals. It gives you good air. So it takes care of you. So you have to have a lot of plants, especially if you live in an apartment and you know, you're not so outdoors. Like if you have a house, you might have a garden. But definitely you need air purifying like you have back there, but you also need lots of plants. They will take care of you. So now, harmful household chemicals, phthalates, parabens. I mean, if you even see these names, don't buy it. You should not buy it, right? And it's hormone disruption, reproductive toxicity. You know now 1 in 6 couples cannot reproduce, cannot have children. So it's a big deal. And then you are what you wear. I'm not going to spend too much, but you know it's petroleum. It's all petroleum based with all the thousands of chemicals. Formaldehyde and microplastics, you know, it's a lot of toxins that we wear. And then when we exercise and perspire, then we wear terrible plastic stuff. So conventional cotton, while natural conventional cotton farming uses significant pesticides and herbicides, so it needs to be organic. Brian and I wrote a book called Killer Clothes, and that is it's telling, and that we wrote about 15 years ago, maybe 20, and now people are starting to figure out. So we have flame retardant, and guess what? In America, if you don't put flame retardant in a child's pajamas, and it's an organic cotton pajamas, they have to say not safe. They have to say not safe. So it's like upside down world. You don't want a child to be in a pajamas with flame retardant. So health at home. So electromagnetic, yeah, we already talked about that. And formaldehyde, it's plywood, some fabrics, stain resistant. Yeah, so now you buy carpets and they might say stain resistant. You know, that's bad chemicals. And, you know, you better buy something that you can wash and take care of, organic stuff. There is now organic furniture, organic beds, organic mattress. At the Institute, all beds are 100% organic. It's 100% organic latex. And then all the bedding is 100% organic. Phthalates used in vinyl flooring and plastics. So vinyl flooring, we got to rip out. So organic cotton, hemp, linen, wool, untreated, of course. And non-toxic rugs, the wool, the jute, organic cotton. Look for certifications like, well, this is American Green Guard, GOTS, OECO, TEX, or FSC. I'm sure you have your own too. And yeah, economic burden of these diseases that comes from these things is significant, with projections indicating a cumulative output loss of 47 trillion over the next 2 decades. Emotion and mental health toll, because you cannot separate them. Depression rates up to 33% of patients with chronic illness experience depression. So it exacerbates physical health conditions, impairing quality of life. Well, that's pretty obvious. Worldwide death toll from cancer is expected to nearly double by 2050. And this is going to be the young ones. This is going to be the young, less than 50 years old. So we're heading for total disaster. What we need to realize is that every step in a better lifestyle that we do is going to help you and globally. I always believe that whatever I'm doing is going to have a ripple effect on other people. Either they're aware or not. It's just being around people that are aware and conscious. It helps everybody. So Sloan Kettering, she's told this from her heart, because for cancer treatment, especially stage 4, they will have surgery, chemo, radiation, but she said that the chance of cure via surgery and or nuclear medicine is almost negligible for all metastatic cancer. So why are we doing it? Why are we suffering? Why don't we change lifestyle and get as many years as we can more instead of suffering this way? But we are all so brainwashed that when we are hearing that you got to start tomorrow, but tomorrow you start chemo, and there's no space to think and to say, you know, is there an alternative? Is there something I can do to build my body strong again, to feel good about myself, to work with psychologists and, you know, to work with people that are positive? Or should I just give up? Should I just do the end-of-life treatments, which medically they think it is? They think it is. So is that what you think? I always ask that question, is that where you are at? Is it end of life? Or no, I want to be here. Well, then don't do that. We went to a conference in Texas, and there were people like us there. One has a big institute called Hope for Cancer. It's not as good as ours, but that main physician that heads it, he said, no chemo, no radiation. I was so happy to hear it, because in years to come, it will be looked upon as pure torture and the wrong thing to do. So I need to build my body up. I don't want to trash it. It's already in trouble if I have cancer. Imagine, if I have cancer, my immune system is already like tight. It's trying to survive. Now I give it chemo, and I kill, for each one bad cell, I kill 1,000 good. For each one bad, I kill 1,000 good, okay? So we use natural things. We use, it's a product made from soy, that it has a part of it that causes apoptosis. Apoptosis means suicide. It means that cancer kills itself, which is what we want. We use also natural Native American herbs. We also use a product that a Polish couple made that used to work at the big Paris Institute for many years, and their daughter is continuing, and that's called Oncobel, and we just started to use that last 6 months. Oncobel is tested in laboratories, and they just came out with the breast cancer. They have done pancreatic cancer, and they do it the real deal. They do it with laboratory. And they also came out, now they're doing prostate cancer. So you will hear more about this, but what they do, they cause suicide, apoptosis. That's the difference than using chemo. It does not cause suicide for the cancer. So prevention, you can start today. Music, of course, music is amazing because there's the brain and the body connection, and it works so great for Parkinson, Alzheimer, you name us. Yeah, and eliminate animal-based foods, reduce saturated fat, cholesterol intake, decreasing risk of heart disease, stroke, and certain cancer. Increase whole plant foods, high in dietary fiber, essential vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, supports gut microbiota and immune system health. Doesn't that look like something you want to do? That would make sense, right? So fermented foods, really great. Stay hydrated. We got to make sure that we get enough. Improve your air quality, of course. Sleep, very, very important. And sleeping pills. Now there's a whole different thing here about Alzheimer and dementia. So there is 8 different medication that leads to highway. Number 1 is antidepressants. Antidepressant is 50 to 70% greater risk for Alzheimer. I'm talking long-term. Long-term use of antidepressant. So sleeping pills. So what, antacids, you name it. What they do, there is a special neurotransmitter called norepinephrine that takes care of you while you're sleeping. And it cleans the brain while you're sleeping. Antidepressant kills it. Sleeping pill kills it. I'm not talking natural sleeping pill like melatonin or something. So I don't get the cleanup in my brain that I need during the night when I'm taking these medication, allergy medication. It's 8 of them. Now they know increase the risk. This one said 30%. The other research said 50, and some research said 70. So, and that's another reason, because women, we're more taking that than anybody. So, yeah, and antihistamine, antidepressant, antipsychotics, you got them all here. So adequate sleep balance hunger hormones and reduces diabetes risk by 14%. Yeah, much more if you do it this way. Sleep boosts cytokine production, strengthening resistance. Cytokine I need. If I have cancer, if I have arthritis, diabetes, you need that. Be mindful, yoga and mindfulness. Yes, stress reduction is a necessity, not a luxury, right? Psychotherapy, which we do, of course, healing beyond the mind. Implementing lasting lifestyle changing. Goal setting, SMART. It's called specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, walk 30 minutes. During lunch, 5 days a week. Yeah, that would be great. Behavioral strategies, self-monitoring of food and activity stimulus control to reduce unhealthy triggers. Those strategies reduce diabetes incidence by 58%. Yeah. So then we find our tribe. That's what Brian talked about too. And be the chance. Go to farmers markets. Be with people that are positive. And spread the word. Spread the word. Spread what you've learned here. And by tomorrow you will have so much more. And somebody said, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. It's your place. Optimism, yeah, it sounds kind of silly, but yes, optimism really tells your cells, we're going to have a good day. Because your cells know what you're thinking. You might not know that, but they do. So embrace prevention as your path so your extremes in life can be extreme joy, health, and extreme happiness. So that's it, you guys, for now. Thank you.